Want to roll in next and talk about, there was another article that talked about South Tampa and how the South Tampa market is basically got a scenario where more of the smaller homes are being forced out, being sold for land. More McMansions, so to speak, are being built by large custom home builders. And it's interesting because if you drive around South Tampa, if you envision South Tampa, 10 or 15 years ago, and Arnie, you can probably speak to this, you didn't have that same phenomenon. It's always been a desirable place to live. It's always had great schools. It's always been kind of the epicenter where you could get to all the neighborhoods. But now you've got, more and more McMansions being built and the smaller homes getting torn down.
Is that like part of McDonald's? What is
no,
that?
No, McMansion. It's like a mini mansion. I view a McMansion as like this great big house on a small lot. Or on a lot that we'd like to be on a much bigger lot, but you don't have bigger lots in South Tampa.
I mean, the appeal down there is obviously it's not because you're going to get your best bang for your buck on a house. The appeal down there is just close to everything. It's close to downtown. It's close to
schools.
Close to schools.
Good
schools are good. Yeah. It's an older neighborhood that has little by little been revitalized, and I mean it just goes.
Now it's like you just drive around and you see new home after new home after new home being built, and small homes being torn down, and that there's some good to that, and there's some bad. The bad is congestion because the bigger homes are going to house more people than the smaller homes, so you're bringing more traffic, more cars, more congestion, but you're also bringing values up. You're creating jobs because all the builders have to have employees, to build, and the values are rising. So there's kind of people on both sides of the fence. There's the people that want South Tampa to stay the way it's been, and are kind of fighting against the development and traffic and all the large McMansions, and then there's the people that view it as a good thing. So there's kind of a battle going on right now. The article actually talked about a well-known house in South Tampa, that's for sale but not for sale. In other words, it's not on the market, and that's another phenomenon that we're starting to see more of. We're getting people call us and say, hey, we'd like you to list this as a pocket listing. Sell it, but we don't want anyone to know it's for sale, which is kind of a challenge, right? And it's funny because a lot of famous people do real estate that way. So we've had this, kind of up-and-coming development of all these reality TV shows. So people watch them and they say, oh, hey, if they could sell that $22 million in New York as a pocket listing for that famous guy, that's what I want to do with my $300,000 house. I want it as a pocket listing. Right. In reality, it's not the desired path for most people's real estate, but it's happening more and more in South Tampa. People are doing that, and because the market's hot.
I mean, I understand celebrity, but why would somebody that's not a celebrity per se want to do a pocket listing?
Well, it's kind of like why would somebody want to do something else a celebrity does that they probably shouldn't do? It's the same kind of they're watching with the celebrity. Oh, I want to do that too. It sounds cool. I don't have to open my house up for showings. I don't have to deal with a sign in the yard. I don't have to deal with the inconvenience. But the reality is you're limiting exposure. Now, if you're selling a $22 million house, it's a whole different scenario because the pool of buyers to buy that locally is very small. You got to make a few phone calls to find somebody there's not very many people that are able to buy that. When you're talking about a $300,000 house, it's a whole different scenario. You got to expose that thing to the market. But it's becoming common, I think, because the development of reality TV, people watching the $1 million listing in HGTV, and that's how they do it on there. So, hey, I want to sell even my $500,000 house. It just doesn't. It's just not reality. Just because a celebrity can do that doesn't mean that a normal person can. But we're getting calls like that. We're getting calls from people that are, that have a home and they see it on TV and they think, oh, well, let's do a pocket listing because I saw, they did them do that on $1 million listing and it worked. And it's like, yeah, well, that was probably BS too. It's probably not real. It's called TV for a reason, It's not real, So they call it reality TV, but it's really not
in the past,
real.
you tell me if I'm wrong, in the past the only reason, some agents have a pocket listing because they know they have a buyer that will probably buy that, so they don't want to expose it to the rest of the market because they want to see if that buyer will buy that listing so they can get both sides of the commission, right?
Correct. Yeah, and there's some of that. There's certainly some of that. There's certainly also, and again, I'm not saying that it isn't a viable tool. We do it. I mean, do we do it? Absolutely, we do. Is it the viable tool for everyone's real estate listing? No. It's this very select amount of people and homes that fit that box. And in South Tampa right now, it's becoming a lot more common because it's also a little, there's so much demand. So they figure, oh, there's so much demand, so I don't have to jump through all those hoops. But the reality is there's not as much demand as you'd think. There's still homes out there sitting, not selling because they're not
I've been doing this a long time, not in the side of the business that you have been in as much. But so if somebody is a celebrity or let's say, and that's a good reason to do a pocket listing, to me it would be much better to be able to market and get more people coming in to be able to build your price up.
It's a very, very rare circumstance where it makes sense.
Put the house in an LLC or something like that behind the name, right?
Yeah, that or a trust or something. So there's so many other options if you're concerned about privacy. We're going to continue this conversation. When we aren't on air, make sure to check out our social channels on Twitter and Instagram at The Duncan Duo and Facebook.com/The Duncan Duo Show. We're also The Duncan Duo on YouTube, where you get real estate videos and updates on the market. We're going to be back to continue this conversation about the Tampa Bay real estate market after a quick break here on 970 WFLA.